Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Everybody I interacted with. A show that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation first.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life.
I really grew up with this show.
My relationship to how I should conduct myself. It was the escape from reality. Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick Delmore and Sascha Shouties take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s. Social commentary and good old-fashioned shade-throwing on our favorite and least favorite episodes. Here comes Patrick and Sascha. Hello and welcome to another episode of Next Generation's First Generation. My name is Sascha Shouties.
And I'm Patrick Delmore.
Today we are going to cover the 7th episode in Season 3 called The Enemy. And this one's going to be a lot of fun. It's classic. Two opposing sides are stranded on a deserted planet and they need to work together to become rescued. This is a recurring theme that we see in the Trek franchise past this episode, but this is also where we get to see our great friend, Commander Tomalak.
Tomalak.
Yes. So, this episode should be a lot of fun. What we would like you to do, if you can listen along anytime you want, or you could get super creative and queue up your DVD or Netflix, and we'll give you the countdown of 3, 2, 1, and hit play. So, we're just about ready to get started.
Oh, and Matt's here.
Yes, and Matt is here. He's so quiet. I didn't even hear you over there. All right. So, here we go. Cue up your device. We're going to give you the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
And away we go.
Ooh, Planet Hell. Go ahead.
I watched this on my phone, actually this morning, and they did a lot to this in HD, so it'll be interesting. We're watching it in SD on a DVD right now to see what it looks like.
They really had the fans blowing on this set.
Yeah. And then they're going to build a big mound of dirt for LeVar Burton to play in.
Oh yeah, that's right. Give him a sandbox.
Yeah.
All I can think of now is of Mr. Mott complaining to Worf about how his hair has to go through these strange environments.
These flashlights are so impractical. They look kind of cool, but it's like they should just be the same basic shape as a tricorder, or put a flashlight in a tricorder. I mean, They figured that out about cell phones 10 years later.
That's right.
We'll just use the one. I like the ones they use both in Voyager and Discovery.
It was the arm-based one where you just point your arm at whatever.
Well, and because it left your hands free, and then the ones on Discovery where they're built into their away team vests.
So they found Romulan debris on this planet. Which planet is this?
This is Galandan Core, which has such a great name. It's one of those ones where, it sticks in your head after you see the episode.
So what is a core of a Galandan anyway?
It might be the, core of whatever the galaxy is. The centralized planet. No life resides there, so they just name it after the galaxy.
Or it's the main planet in the system.
Yeah.
Oh, logic.
In the books, they retconned it to where during the Romulan War, this is where the final battle was.
That makes sense. I've heard this name many times.
Yeah, it's like right on the edge of the neutral zone.
Oh, Worf has found his first catch of the day.
You can see he has serious medical training because it's an injured man and he immediately starts rocking the head back and forth.
Oh, Worf, you just...
Well, we've established we don't care that Worf does not care if this guy dies or not.
I just love how Worf turned his back to this guy and basically, lost the advantage and got a stranglehold in.
Oh.
That's Worf for you.
Yeah.
The weakest tough guy.
Still learning the ropes here.
Yeah. Oh,
Geordi fall down the hole.
He's in his mud pit now.
And you think, they gave him a visor because a visor looks cool. But I think, and they figured it out later on, those two nodes on the side of his head would definitely just correct his vision without having to give him that visor.
Huh. You think?
But it's so iconic just to look at the pictures of, LeVar Burton in that visor. And it, when you see somebody just put a visor like that in front of their eyes, it's, immediate, visual language. Like, this is a Star Trek The Next Generation.
It's the Spock years thing. Yeah. It's the... Would have been funny is when he gets back, Data comes up to him and says, I replicated this 20th century device for you. It's a gold chain you wear around your neck that attaches to your visor, so if it falls off, you can just wear it around your neck.
So basically you gave him librarian glasses holders.
Pretty much. He just gives him these golden pearl things that he can wear around his neck.
I always liked the contact lenses that they give LeVar Burton.
Yes.
To make it look like his eyes are milky white. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he can actually see through those, or if it actually does impede his vision.
He couldn't see through those, and Brent Spiner a lot of the time couldn't see through his Data contacts either.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is a perfect example of you send people ill-equipped on a away team. You give them a gun and basically an eye and like a Palm Pilot of the era.
Yeah, a gun, and if the wind was as bad as it is, would just blow off because it's attached by Velcro.
Right, and then not only is just, so they don't have any survival gear. In the original series, they would wear gear.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have these jackets and these, they were just military web belts that were painted silver. And in Discovery, they had gear.
Well, here they're kind of taking a page, I think, from the Kirk School of Away Missions.
Kirk's team would carry gear.
No, but they always, you would have people split up, right? They didn't go in teams. And if I beam down, I'm sticking with you, man. I'm not just going to go wander off in a random direction.
Well, no. Then again, that you will do that from time to time, if it's necessary. But again, if I'm sending you by yourself, I'm going to send you with an emergency shelter kit, your own emergency med kit, food, some sort of visual flare. Just because, like you said, they're beaming down knowing their shit might not work. So we're going to give you zero way to communicate or let me know your location if something goes wrong.
I'm actually surprised when they beamed up with the Romulan, Riker, and Worf. They took the beam-up beacon with them. I don't know if you noticed that.
I'm like, we're going to take this, Geordi.
If they know Geordi's stuck on the planet, at least leave that there for him. Oh, well. So...
what's his name? O'Brien's like, just put that back in the utility closet with all the others.
It's like Riker just goes...
900 of them, they just line
drops it on the ground and walks out.
Oops. Alright, so anyway, we were kind of jabber-jawing over the intro. This episode came out November 6th, 1989, so if you were a kid, your pillowcase full of candy is about to run dry from Halloween, and you are looking forward to the Thanksgiving season. This episode here has, Miles O'Brien in it. We get to see Tomalak. There is also, the music is done by Dennis McCarthy. But
it's good music.
It's good music. I'm coming around to Dennis. There's our floating bed. I think this is the first
time
we've seen that.
You can see that it doesn't float. They're pushing it along the floor. And not only that, the padding kept bunching up as they were pushing it, which means that the ride is not going to be great for the Romulan there. They should have just had a normal stretcher.
But they put a little blue light down there by the floor to indicate that it could be floating.
Storms creating thousands of ghosts. We'll beam some of those ghosts back. One of them may be Geordi.
Damn straight.
Yeah. No. Number one, no.
That's yes. Yelling at your
literally have had to show up here because he told you everything that would go wrong on this away mission. You ignored him, and now you're mad at him because he told you what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Riker, he He just likes to lose his temper with people.
Yep.
I never realized this until now. Is that he's kind of a
dick.
Yeah, he's not the strong leader that
His
inspires.
interrogation of this Romulan in a minute is just awful.
Yeah. Well, I never understood the hostility because, yes, we're afraid of Romulans, but they never treat them with respect. Like, are they the known enemy?
Yeah.
What's
we had.
the deal?
Remember, we had a war with them. They 9/11'd us.
Oh, right.
They destroyed an entire starbase. There was only like 4,000 people plus our first 2 warp ships. And then they launched an intergalactic war with us that, almost destroyed us. And yeah,
Will destroy. It's in our future. So Geordi has found some pebbles in the sand, and he is going to MacGyver his way out of this cave, which is quite ingenious. So I think what he's found is some ore with metal in it.
I don't know about MacGyver though.
This is very much a MacGyver thing.
If MacGyver had a giant laser pistol,
if all MacGyver had was a blowtorch, he would melt the ore into spikes.
If laser pointers had been a thing when MacGyver was on, he would have used them a bunch.
Not just MacGyver playing with kitties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to train this cat to follow the laser pointer to jump into the guys.
In the class where they were teaching him how to use his phaser, they were like, you can also make swords with this. Point it at metal and make swords.
Well, I like how this ore is malleable enough where he can melt it but then immediately touch it.
Oh, he didn't grab it yet.
No, but it's going to be within a few minutes. I mean, it should take it quite a while.
Depends on the metal. Okay, so this is a really important second part of the episode, and I think this episode doesn't really play up the importance of prejudice enough. What's happening here is that they're soon discovering that this Romulan, which they rescued, has some kind of blood disease, and he needs a transfusion.
And your old CIA types would say, once they woke him up, this is not how they do it currently, but this is what Riker should have done. Goes over to him, it's like, hey, you're hurt. We're trying to get you home. What's your name and where can we take you? Is what he should have done.
Yeah.
And the guy would have, he's dazed. But instead he's like, this is a war type situation and I'm your enemy. And I'm It's like, oh, okay, no.
Look at that cell phone taped to his head.
Yeah.
You're on board the Federation starship.
Okay,
Enterprise.
there we go. You're on
treating your
board.
injuries.
He's doing it. He's treating your injuries.
How long were you down on Galorndon Core?
Not important.
You ruined it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just going to pass out.
I will not answer questions. We need to know if there are other survivors on the surface.
Gosh, he is so aggressive.
Oh,
Look,
well,
he's got
I'll
his
answer that
hands
question.
on his chest. And...
I will not answer any questions.
You son of a bitch!
Yeah, yes, because when I said I wouldn't answer questions, I said I won't answer questions except if I have a mothership, if there are other people on the planet, and if
And Picard's like, well, crap.
yeah, like,
I can't really discipline you in front of all these people, but you screwed up.
yeah, he's like, what the hell was that?
So my only beef with this prop is look how rounded and polished and pointy that is. That is not a finger trough chisel right there.
And
that
why couldn't he? And if it's malleable enough where he can hit take it just with a hand,
He can do it. He can do it with his hands.
He should do it with his hand, or he should just take his phaser and go.
Well, this is just the peg climb in high school. They used to do
but
this.
if it's solid rock and the rock is soft enough where he can take a hand pick by hand with one hand and get it in there and support his weight, why couldn't he just shoot handholds with his phaser?
Yep.
Because
and make an actual.
we would lose.
Well,
carve out a ladder rung, carve out another ladder rung, and then footholds that were big enough so he's not sitting there trying to salmon ladder the damn thing up.
Yeah, I think this whole episode is going to be a whole lot of if I ran the zoo complaints, but I still hold this is a pretty good episode.
This is starting to sound like a round of super fight. You've got Geordi LaForge and trapped in a cave. What do you do?
He can show us that he's found.
Yeah, Will Wheaton, I don't know why they had him play this role like this in this episode, It must have been like, okay,
Hey, the back of his pants were closed this time.
one take will.
So now they're having this conversation where they had like the inspiration technobabble translation conversation where Data said, well, if Geordi does this and this and this with his visor, it can indicate his location. And then, of course, Wesley, he turns around and says, yeah, he can totally light up the sky like a beacon with his visor, the technobabble translation. And there's our good man, Tamalak.
Yes, and this is initially his message to his crew that he's on his way to come get him.
It's Smokey the Centurion.
But
why he do that on an open channel? That's kind of weird.
They said it was encrypted and that we broke the encryption.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Romulan vessel. This is Captain
The
Geordi.
Romulans must be using BitLocker.
And Patrick Stewart did some great face acting there, where it's like he heard that name, Tomalak. It was just like, I am not ready for this.
Yeah.
Commander Tomalak, we have intercepted your transmission. You are not to enter Federation space.
Oh, this is your planet? I'm so sorry.
Then, there's more chance than not, most of the time, that if something like this happened, he would just be able to get them and the Federation wouldn't be there.
Well, and that's what he was betting on when he was sending the transmission.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, oh, crap. And it's the flagship.
Yes.
That shit.
This whole episode just always bothered me, ever since watching this show from day one to today, is that had both sides just been a little bit more honest with each other, it's like, yeah, we're trying to rescue the people. But no, there's all that you're the enemy posturing stuff.
No, Picard doesn't really do that, though. Picard's pretty straight with him about what's going to happen.
Yeah, he hasn't been evasive. And he's like, yeah, you violated our space. That's an act of war.
Yeah, Tomalek just lies to him and says it was a one-man craft that went over there by mistake, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Did we ever know why the Romulans were there? Did we learn this? Oh, here comes Deanna.
Who does nothing helpful in this episode.
If you're the enemy, you just watch Deanna.
This does play into the next episode that they do with the Romulans called The Defector.
Explain.
Which is when we see Tomlock. Is they're using the admiral in that is led to believe that they're planning to invade Galandan Core.
Oh, okay.
So that they were fake sensor things, and that they were thinking there's going to be a base there and everything.
But that's where they violate the neutral zone.
Oh yeah, so we have Galandan Core on our side, and there's like a corresponding planet on the Romulan side.
Gotcha.
That they're going to use as a staging ground. And it's Tomlock who ends up chasing him in that one. It's the second time we see Tomlock.
He's like the golden reset or Maset of the Romulans.
Yeah, he's the sector commander guy whose job is to wander around and cause trouble.
No, we were just talking about this line about people are going to remember Galandan Core along with Pearl Harbor, which you really can't. There's no sneak attack and
yeah. That only works as if the Enterprise shows up there and like 50 warbirds decloak and blow the hell out of the planet.
And there would have to be a Federation base there, technically, like a shipyard or something.
Yeah. Now the attack on Starbase 1 in the Romulan War way back, that was a Pearl Harbor event because it's just one base that got a whole base in the sector got wiped out by a massive attack in a prelude to war.
So let me ask you something. In Discovery, they refer great people, not great attacks. Like, this could be the next Elon Musk. We heard that in Discovery.
Yeah.
I wonder if Star Trek will start referencing more recent events, like, well, this is the war in Afghanistan, or this is the 9/11. It's...
Well, there's kind of an issue with 9/11 in that the end of Enterprise was all just a response to 9/11. I mean, Suliban, Taliban...
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a deliberate attack on a civilian target,
yeah.
and then Archer willing to bend the rules, pretty much, like this, with CIA torture and stuff like that to get the ends justifying the means thing. That whole season was them doing that.
So I'm a little confused here. Geordi seems to have found his way back into the cave?
No, he's just...
Or is he just by
I think
a lake?
he's traversing something, and he's over a lake.
Yeah.
So is he injured from the fall, or
no.
what's going on? He just looks
I'm
like
sure
he's
he's not
having
in
a
the
hard
greatest
time.
shape, but,
He can walk, he can climb things.
he was able to freehand climb
Sensors are tracking the...
Yeah, why did he lose his picks? I'd shove those in my belt loop there and hold on to them.
Yeah, especially since you have absolutely no other equipment or gear with you.
Oh, he's got a tricorder and he's got a phaser.
Nothing.
Where is his where is his tricorder? You can see his key. Oh, I see it.
It's on his.
They just
it's on
have
his
two
belt.
little Velcro loops in there. That's the dumbest belt.
I know. And he's got no exposure gear or anything.
There we go. So Wesley is saving the day. Put that on his Starfleet application that Wesley saved Geordi's life.
Many times.
You know, honestly, Wesley is an unsung hero when you look at feats completed. This kind of goes into my larger complaint, like Harry Kim. You know, you've got these really unpopular characters that are somewhat resourceful, but because they're annoying, whatever.
I guess I'd rather do Stranded in the Delta Quadrant than have to thank Harry Kim for saving me.
Right. Oh, there's another Romulan. He looks angry.
He does indeed.
Did
the two-fisted
like
punch
that.
on the back.
Look at the most uncomfortable way to sit.
You are my prisoner!
No duh.
We return to Romulus.
Every time we see Geordi, they just smear more muck on his uniform.
Yep.
And look, he's got mud on his shoulders. What was he doing? Handstand in a puddle?
Well, he just
fell-
belly crawl
Yeah.
out of a cave and then across a
And
lake.
then, fell face first into the ground.
Yeah, he's...
But his visor looks great. There's no mud on that visor.
Well, that's got a self-cleaning feature.
He's got these little mini windshield wipers that just kind of come down. and
Little
flaps.
spray comes out and just goes...
Brought to you by Rain-X. So this guy, his rank is Centurion, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So did they? It's interesting that they borrow from the Roman.
They don't borrow from the Roman. The Universal Translator makes the most sense of what their ranks are and uses that.
Oh man, they dumped styrofoam on him. He should be dead.
It could have even been like Hoshi from Enterprise could have been the one that picked all those ranks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hoshi did get credit for writing the first UT.
And she did speak Romulan by the end of the series.
Yep. No, Hoshi and Uhura get the two biggest credits for translation.
Uhura probably knew considerably less about the Romulans than Hoshi did.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't expecting to ever run into Romulans.
Well, really, when you look at...
No, it was established she knows all the dialects of Romulus, of the Romulan dialects, whereas Hoshi only knew the ancient ones that they were able to get from that old ship.
So this guy is still pointing his gun at Geordi after saving his life. Look at that.
Well, they established that they're all dick-like,
No good deed.
Now imagine if
that is a lot.
Riker-
How did that much sand get into his boot?
and dry sand too.
That's what I'm saying. You look at that and it's like,
He's got hot feet.
you're just like,
Oh, here we go. So Worf has been called to sickbay.
I know you want me to save that Romulan, but me and the old doctor, we actually used to watch patients die together, and it was kind of hot.
I would bring the tea, she would bring the biscuits, and we'd slowly watch the little beeps go down and down, and then they were gone. And then we would both scream in the air, and
Yeah, the Pulaski-Worf relationship was much more entertaining than these two.
So, his rank does not matter at all in this. They're just trying to appeal to his empathy about this, and he just does not have any toward the Romulans.
Well,
they established, they kind of go into it where it's like, Picard's like, I will not order you to give up your blood, which is something that Picard probably would never do. He'll give him that, I'm very disappointed in you, but I am not going to order you to,
Well, he wouldn't have to. It would be Riker would have been the one to give him the order.
Well, but an order of that size, though, is something I think Picard would have been, that's like ordering somebody to die.
Yeah.
We need you, they'll go over that later when they do the bridge test with Deanna. It's like, if you have to, if I have to order Geordi to go into a radiation-filled room to fix something to save the ship,
Yeah,
It's
you
going to
can
be
do it.
Picard who's going to do it.
Yeah, or Troy in the simulation.
Well, yeah, if whoever's in the highest, whoever's in command at the time. And it's,
I think that was the disaster. No, it wasn't.
no, it was.
That does have one of the best Deanna Troy parts ever.
So what?
That was-
There's a
yeah,
couple
that-
of things. There's a couple of things I'd like to see in this episode, like the whole "if I ran the zoo" is like I'd much rather see Will Riker learn how to cooperate with the enemy. I think that would have been a more challenging and entertaining episode because Geordi's already a people pleaser. He wants to get things done. He sees the objective.
Yes.
Will Riker is all about I've got to get over me first.
that would have changed the episode. This episode wouldn't have been Riker doing it. It would have been
It's
Riker.
a lot about...
It's like, all I got to do is wait till he coughs 3 more times, then pow!
Yes.
And I take his gun.
Because this is a story about race. You have your 2 black leads from the show, Michael Dorn and
Yeah.
LeVar Burton, like how they handle it differently, how each one of them handles it differently. Also Riker in this scenario, he wants to bring that guy back as a prisoner.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, they could be friends and stuff, but he'd be like, if we go back to my ship, you're my prisoner. And if for some reason your guy gets you, obviously I'm your prisoner.
Yeah, and
It's rules of engagement.
And he's not going to, and then Riker's not going to be like, thank you, Wesley, I can modify. No, he's just going to be, he's literally, Riker and him, it's going to be, we're just going to wait to see who can get a transporter lock on us first. And and if we get it, you're my prisoner, and if you get it, I'm your prisoner.
That effect honestly looks like the TV is on a glitch.
Yeah.
Whenever it does that.
Well, we just missed a really interesting conversation where the Romulan asked Geordi what's going on with the visor, and he goes, "Well, I was born blind." And the Romulan's first response was, "They let you live?" Mm-hmm. And Geordi's like, "Of course he let me live." So really, I think it's not so much about the 2 black leads. I think it's that it's about the Klingon and the Romulan. Both are polar opposites of each other, and they're so different they're the same when it comes to their entrenched hatred of things.
No, the Romulans killed Worf's parents.
That's a legitimate, I don't want to. I mean, that would be like, I really hate to use the analogy, but it'd be like, you captured a Nazi and you go up to a Jewish family that was interned.
Okay.
And say, hey, you need to give this guy needs a blood transfusion, and you're the only one who can give it to him.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And you watched your parents die in the camps.
Yeah.
They did an ER episode like that.
They've done a lot of shows have done episodes. West Wing did a great one where they had the Ayatollah's son or his grandson needed a heart transplant and lung transplant, and the only doctor who could do it was an Iranian dissident who had fled the country.
So what would you do? If you were Worf, what would you do?
I don't have anything in my past that would completely preclude me from wanting to help somebody.
At this point, me neither. I would be like...
But that's the thing is like, some people do.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. And yeah, so for me, it would be like, if they asked me to do it, I'd be like, well, yeah, all right. I mean...
He is alive.
Better get some brownie points in my service record for it, but... But I wouldn't take Worf's stance. But I can empathize and agree with Worf for what he went through, for not wanting to do it.
And karmically, I don't ever want to be in a situation where it was like, you had the ability to give me help, you didn't give it to me, and now I will not show you mercy.
And it's
just
not
on a
like
karmic
Worf
scale, don't
did
believe-
anything
don't
to this
believe
guy
him.
either. It's one of those, I didn't cause him to do this. This guy invaded our space on a mission to do this. And Worf's also the warrior race. Remember, they don't believe in doing this to save it.
Right, if it
Remember,
was Worf that it happened to, he wouldn't want that Romulan.
No, yeah,
he
He would want...
I've heard somewhere in Star Trek, I can't place it, where either Worf or another Klingon does something similar, like in a medical procedure, and the exchange is, your life belongs to me now, or the person was really pissed that Klingon blood was in their veins. Does that strike a bell with
I
anybody?
can't think of what that is, but Picard does give a needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few thing here, because Picard honestly believes that, Worf giving this guy his blood could prevent a war.
So this is the more interesting conversation on the other half, is that Geordi sees a way out. And they're both slowly deteriorating. The planet is literally killing them. The fancy talk is what there's something in the atmosphere that's degrading their neural pathways or something like that.
That's working faster on the Romulan, just like it did to the guy they found.
Is for whatever his metabolism can't take it.
I no more wish to die.
It's not that he wants to die; it's that he doesn't want to be prisoner. I think that's the bigger fear. So, what is death worth to you? I guess the question is, if you're in this situation, would you rather die or be taken prisoner?
Depends who's taking me prisoner.
Yeah.
Now, remember, both sides have been probably well briefed, if maybe not accurately, that what the other side would do to them.
Honestly, it reminds me of that movie about the Thin Red Line, I think it was called, or the Battle of Stalingrad, whatever it was.
Oh, Enemy at the Gates.
Enemy at the Gates. And the idea was there, well, if you're afraid of the Russians, you should be afraid of your CO or something like that, or if, it's either death by us or death by you.
I would turn myself into the Nazis before I would have turned myself over to the Russians if I was a Nazi.
Yeah, well, depending on, like I said, if you were like I said, the Nazis, depending on, like I said, if you weren't Jewish or you weren't, one of the classes of people that they were going against, they probably weren't going to do too much to you.
Especially because they knew that we treated our German POWs real well.
Now, like I said, now the Russians they had pretty much they were messed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why when the war was ending, every German soldier who could walk was heading west to surrender to any British or American soldier that they could find. Even if it's just a lowly private, that you had officers turning over whole squads to avoid being anywhere near the Russians coming in.
So here we have the Federation and we have the the Federation and the Romulans. And both probably don't know very much about each other. And
no, they do. Remember, they had an alliance.
But no, I'm just talking about like the common soldiery. And the whole fear is do not get captured as a prisoner.
But they're both warrior races, so both warrior races do look down. Think of the Japanese in World War II. They look at surrender as being very dishonorable, and if you were defeated and you surrendered, you didn't die in combat. You had no place in life. It was one of those, we just assume kill you or not. It depends what I feel like at the time. There were no rules about it. And just, Worf is one of those, I'd rather, I want to die in battle than die on a bed somewhere. Mm-hmm. That's why they have all those, when he was on that exchange ship and the guy says, my father's, dishonored the family by growing old.
Yeah.
And not of dying in combat. And it's just the fact that he'd lived too long.
It just, it was not, there are better ways to have lived your life.
Yeah.
So here we are Worf is getting the peer pressure from everybody. He got it from Picard, he just got it from Riker, and I just got it from Beverly.
Well, peer pressure would mean that every one of them has, what peer pressure would have meant was that every one of them is like, we've given our blood to save enemy combatants. Every man here has done that, and you haven't done it. That would be peer pressure. This is an appeal to his empathy.
Yeah, this is exactly what I would see Picard doing. I'm gonna try, but it's gonna come down to a point where you're gonna take a firm stand, and I am not gonna cross that line and order you to give up your blood.
Right.
So here's the conversation of that Worf and the Romulan are having this conversation. The Romulan does not want. There we go. Right. The Romulan does not want Klingon blood. Actually, this would appeal to Worf. That is like, well, if he doesn't want it, then I'm going to do it just to be a jerk.
No, he's more like, sort of. He was basically saying, beg me to save your life, Romulan. And the Romulan's like, no, I'd rather die than have my life saved by you. They've never gone into it, and I'd love for them to do that someday. Really, the big falling out between the Romulans and the Klingons. Mm-hmm. They did it in a comic book, which was a really good story.
Yes, it was.
It was the Romulan Pawns of War, where the Klingons manipulate the Romulans into getting around the Organian peace treaty to go to Federation. And it explains why the how the Klingons got cloaking technology from the Romulans, and the Romulans started using Klingon-style ships for a while. And then why they had an immense hatred for each other afterwards.
Your eye device does. Connect them. That's crazy. They don't speak the same language.
Oh, so here we go. Innovative conversation from our Romulan. Connect the tricorder.
I mean, thank God Geordi was an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Connect the tricorder to the visor.
Neutrino Geiger counter. It's still not possible.
So Geordi, now he's the one who has no hope, and the Romulan does.
Mm.
So there's some role reversal going on.
Why? Because I can't see.
Well, whose fault is that? Your mama and your papa.
Now, wouldn't you think that Geordi's psych test would have been like to just have somebody run in, crush the visor into a million pieces, and then or
This exact scenario.
yeah,
You're on a planet, your visor doesn't work.
or set it up so that he thinks it's his fault it broke, and they're like, no, you have to take the test today anyway. It doesn't matter.
Then I'd put him in a room, take his visor away, and then have people calling out for help.
Assembling away to you. Yes. Captain, the Romulan warship has crossed the neutral zone border.
Uh-oh.
Federation space and heading towards us.
The Romulans are moving in for the kill. To rescue.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Well, Picard's probably thinking, well, what's the pressure? If we've got the only guy, why are they in such a hurry to come and come to the planet? So.
Oh, look, he's got a medical tricorder, too, not just a regular tricorder.
Contact with the tricorder scanner heads.
How lucky he brought the one with the, snap-out piece that senses all this stuff, even though he's an engineer.
Well, he could have been the designated team medic for all you know.
Better 350.
It works! Look how happy he is.
This only works if I'm grabbing you by the shoulders in a very intimate manner.
Take a look. It's in a book. The Reading Rainbow.
Get out of here. At which point?
Alright, guys, start walking. Why are you just sitting there talking?
Can you walk? I don't
Nope.
know. Let's find out. Come on.
Well, take all the dry sand out of your boots. It usually helps. And then they can walk.
Okay. Let's go straight ahead. Okay.
So they're helping each other out. For a blind guy, it's really amazing that he just got up and walked across the cave like that with no directions from the Romulan.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has to have adapted somewhat if he's been blind his entire life.
Yeah, he's got to have some sense of,
Yes.
I would find a flashing red light in my office very distressing, and I wouldn't be able to get any work done.
Yeah.
Like, I know the ship's on red alert, but does it have to line the entire
Blind
wall?
children. This is interesting. I heard about this on NPR.
Uh-huh.
Blind children naturally do this thing where they will project their voice to see how far things are away from them, and once they get into school, because they didn't know for a long time why they did it, teachers discourage them from doing that because it's a distraction.
Oh, like echolocation.
Exactly like echolocation.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I understand.
Well, you can tell by the audio quality of this recording, we are in a small apartment.
Yes.
So, there we go.
Sometimes
Hey, I didn't see the fish.
moral obligations are
Maybe the fish should go on an away mission.
less than clear. I have to weigh the good of the many.
Maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll have that on lower decks for Captain Picard's fish Livingston evolved into some higher form of life.
No, Livingston is down there in the aquatics navigation lab with the whales.
Lieutenant,
Maybe that's his quarters.
if you had cause.
Maybe Livingston isn't a pet at all, but he's a liaison between the departments.
Agree to transfusion. I will obey, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
This is the good of the many outweighs the needs of the few speech. Picard does not want to order...
beg you.
Whoa. Picard does not want to order Worf, but he begs him to.
And he's and it's got to be hard for Worf because it's people who beg are completely without honor as far as he's concerned.
Yep.
An order would show that he's the guy in command, but to say to Worf, "I'm going to beg you to do this," it's then you and your request are completely without honor.
It's really interesting because Worf almost expected to be ordered right there.
Yeah,
no, he did. It was, and he's prepared to do it because my commanding officer said do it. This is like if Picard said, go down there and sacrifice your life for it. He would do it. But going back to the red alert thing, that's standard on military ships. When you go to general quarters, which is red alert on a ship, you have a klaxon going off, and you have an indicator light. So it's very clear to everybody.
Yeah.
When you're there, it's.
That seems like some episodes are red alert for like hours, and other times it's just red alert.
You are sometimes.
Yeah, you'd be at general quarters, battle stations.
Think about if you're in the Navy and something comes up on radar and it doesn't identify itself for a long time. You're on red alert.
Yeah, or when you're like, those ships out in the, out in the Persian Gulf.
I like
right now,
that shot right there with him patting his palm into his hand there.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think we've seen that
closed
yet.
Up on it, yeah.
It
don't usually do shots like that.
I like the one where from the Huznok episode where with the Kevin Up bridge and stuff, where he's pacing around the bridge a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're saying in the Persian Gulf?
Those ships are in general quarters. Probably pretty often, if not all times.
These Romulan ships are just massive.
Yeah.
I never understood the big open space in the middle of them. It seemed like
it's
unnecessary design.
Well, no, it's a design that may not make sense in the future, but nowadays it does. It's you have mass, but you have empty space. So sensor beams, modern, and stuff like that. It's like basically like a stealth kind of thing.
Rather than like if you took a ship as a prize, rather than towing it behind you, you could keep it within that structure.
The Defiant had done that a couple of times. Gone into the belly of a...
Really?
It floated in there, they've mentioned.
Huh.
But it's more one of those, it's... Like the Spirit bombers that we have, the V-shaped ones. Big, flat. It's made to deflect.
Ah, okay. So, what are they locking weapons on? I just missed it.
They're not locking weapons on anything. The weapons are locked on them. They have to drop their shields to get Geordi on board.
Gotcha.
And they're just about to find out there's two of them down there.
Yeah.
The window is allowing intermittent sensor readings. There's still numerous ghost images, but I believe we are picking up 2 life forms near the beacon.
Well done, Data. 2 life forms.
Unknown.
So this is really important because then it betrays the Romulans saying, well, yes, they actually were lying.
And that's what Picard is gambling on this, because he knows all of his crews up here.
There's some bad Data dialogue. Riker asks him if it's a Romulan, and Data says it's difficult to say. He could say, he would normally just say unknown.
Or it is.
Yeah.
Contraction.
Oh, he does contractions all the time.
Yeah. Silly Billy. Why did you stand up Diane? Deanie.
She's an important part of people of when people engage with Picard, is because they think that she's a psychic, and that she's kind of part of his arsenal. So in encounters like this, that she does need to stand there.
Commander, both our ships are ready to fight.
Well,
we have to.
It's a bigger deal. Honestly, it's a bigger deal than having Riker appear next to him on the bridge.
I always see that Riker and Deanna, their jobs are to posture. It's like I don't really see a functional, like they're almost on opposite sides of the same emotional coin.
And to manage the crew, both of them as well.
True.
It's a little bit inappropriate that she's a counselor when her job is to write the duty reports for people. But
the evaluations.
Yeah.
Well, she's not a department head.
Yeah, she is.
Is she?
Yes.
Of whom?
Of like all those lower decks people. She and Riker sit there and write
1,000 evals. I have a hard enough time just doing 16. Yeah. Holy smokes!
Well, Geordi would get all of the people in engineering.
Yeah.
Worf, I assume, would probably write them for security and then turn them over to Riker, or probably to Data. Actually,
now enjoy.
He and Data and Worf are probably sitting right up the stuff on the security teams.
So here's a moment of vulnerability. So the Romulans never take first action. They're always reactionary. The only time they'll take a first action is is if either you've intrigued them or confused them. But they're more than happy to let you do your own thing. Oh, they beamed him right to the bridge.
Yeah.
Probably to prove that he's right there.
I swear some of the time Geordi's communicator was on.
Might have been.
See, look how much better Picard handles that than Riker did. Just the first word out of his mouth. No one's going to harm you.
Yes.
Commander.
Well, to have a bully like Riker around makes Picard look so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Without even trying.
He's his big stick.
I think you're right. I don't believe that Geordi was wearing his communicator on the planet.
Yeah.
Because I was commenting on, all the sludge on his shoulders and it wasn't there. Production errors. I want the chest belt. That's kind of cool.
How is it possible?
Just
Second Romulan alone and core.
Simple misunderstanding, Captain Picard.
oh,
Yeah, it wasn't that...
our guys just turned left instead of right.
Yeah, it wasn't that simple.
I assure you I intended no deception.
Of course not.
So this guy who plays Tomalak was also in Not Good Will Hunting? Is that it?
I don't
No.
know.
The Fugitive. That's right. He was the one-armed murderer.
I did not kill my wife.
Kill-
I don't care.
Killed Harrison Ford's wife.
He passed away in 2006 of lung cancer, which would have been too bad because I would have loved to see him come back in the Picard series. I think that would have been
I
just
think they
a
would have
great
used him in
bookend.
Deep Space Nine during the Dominion War, too.
Yeah, well,
They really needed, because they had a reoccurring Klingon liaison. And when the Romulans joined, they went through, sometimes it was a senator, sometimes it was a
commander. Yeah, it's just a random Romulan. They never had consistent leadership.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been really interesting if they'd used Commander Sela.
Yeah.
And they could have got Denise Crosby to come back.
She would have done it. She would have done it.
You just would have just seen Worf's reaction when when she walks on the Deep Space Nine. Same thing with Tomalak. I think Worf, it'd be one of those Tomalak would have remembered that Worf didn't save one of his guys. And
use that against them, and then
would have like one of those. I remember that about you, and glare at him.
That would have been a really good. That would have been a really good Bashir Worf conversation. You did what?
Yeah.
How dishonorable of you, sir. One of those. Well, there it is. Wow, we that was The Enemy. So the resolution of this episode seems a little mysterious. They rescued their two Romulan operatives on the planet, and then they agreed not to shoot at each other.
Yeah, they didn't. Enterprise totally had the right to fire on them because they were the ones that encroached into Federation space, not the other
twice.
Yeah.
So really, this politically it was kind of a thriller, but the buried plot was how to get along with someone you hate, and we saw that with Worf. With the blood donation conversation, we saw that with Geordi and his getting along so we don't die on this planet conversation. And really, I think there's a lot more value and better writing in the Geordi on the planet scenario than the stubborn Worf scenario.
Yeah, I mean, but they had to have the stubborn Worf stuff because there wasn't enough of it. You couldn't have an entire episode with those two.
Oh, do you think that's why they did it?
Yes. Because honestly, they had to have 3 conversations with Worf about what was going on. I think, again, it's an if I ran the zoo complaint. Give Wesley a little bit more weight in figuring out how to find
have him
Geordi.
feverishly working with O'Brien in some lab somewhere, trying to do something for a scene or two. Because in reality, Beverly would have asked Worf. Worf would have said no. Beverly would have immediately gone to Picard. Probably not Riker, but went to Picard. And Picard then would have had the whole, I'm going to ask you to do this. And then when he says no, then he would have done his whole, do not pursue Worf any longer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because Picard would not have stretched it out. You didn't need the... Yeah, you could throw in the conversation with Riker, but Beverly wouldn't have gone to Riker. She'd have gone right to Picard, knowing that that's something really the captain has to order you to do.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you there that we could have filled it out a little bit more with some Wesley O'Brien technobabble. As episodes go, this one's kind of neat. it introduces the more mature Star Trek that we're used to. It kind of gets away from the juvenile, high school Star Trek that we just kind of came out of with seasons 1 and 2. But there are better season 3 episodes.
But I still will give it 5 medical tricorders.
5 medical tricorders. Okay, very cool. 5 out of 5. I would have to say this would be 2 medical tricorders and one scanner, hand scanner. Just because the episode, it didn't go as deep as it could have with Worf. It was just more of a, I hate you, you hate me, you're gonna die. So not a lot of growth there. It was just more bear witness to what a jerk Worf can be, and I think that he was being a jerk. He could have saved that life. But I can't get into who he is as a character. That's Worf. That's what he does. So what about you, Matt?
I'm gonna give it 4 of those little hand tools that Geordi made.
Yeah.
4 Geordi picks.
It was a
solid episode. I completely get and understand where Worf is coming from, and his decision not to do it does not take anything away from me as far as how it.
Not at all.
If I were with him, I would not have changed how much respect I have for him or anything. I'd be like, I understand, and I would have been caught him and like, I'm politically and I have to ask you to do this, but I'm not going to order you to do it. And when he says no, then it's like, yeah,
it's done.
Yeah, I have nothing in my personal experience to compare to a genocide.
Yeah, and so I can't do it, but I understand that, and I think that was good, and I'm glad to see the Romulans back. The Romulans were always my favorite.
Me too.
Nice.
They were always my favorite. Anytime I got a chance to play a Star Trek game, if I wasn't the Federation, I was
You're
always the
a Romulan?
Romulans.
Yeah.
I was always the Romulans. They were the... Yeah, I don't know what about the sneaky bastards. I just really like them.
And the green.
The green candy, yeah, they're like the fun Vulcans.
Have the fun Vulcans, the angry Vulcans.
Yeah.
Who honed it into more of a, brutal military.
The Vulcans that got kicked out of the house at a young age.
Yeah.
Shall we knock it on the head there?
Yeah, let's knock it on the head. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Next Generation's First Generation. Please make sure to check out our archive of episodes. You can find us on YouTube, Libsyn, iTunes, Google Play, and if you knock 2 rocks loudly enough together, I'll even send you an email from our email address.
Which is Next Generation First... What? So, no, it's not.
Next Gen First Gen.
Next Gen First Gen Pod at gmail.com.
There we go. And with that, have a wonderful day.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sascha, what is Star Trek
Hi,
Next
I am the
Generation?
guest.
So, Sascha, what is Star Trek?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Verbal Origami Instrumental by The Impossibles, Audio Engineering by Sascha Shouties, Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirschner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.